Tennessee's going to pick up a commitment from cornerback Shamar Arnaud out of Alpharetta, Georgia, 2025 prospect, and taking a hard look at Auburn and LSU. But I believe the relationship between Arnaud and Willie Martinez will result in Tennessee's next commitment before the end of the week. He is set to announce sometime on Friday. So again, a 2025 prospect. If we take a look at the Vols recruiting overall, the 2024 class is certainly coming into shape. Jake Merklinger, the quarterback that recently committed to Tennessee. Then you also have another four-star prospect in Jonathan Eccles out of IMG Academy in Florida. J.J. Harrell out of North Panola is a four-star wide receiver. I should have said Eccles is an athlete. My apologies. Caleb Beasley, related to Aaron Beasley out of Lipscomb Academy, a four-star prospect. Marcus Corey Jr. is a four-star prospect out of Cleveland, Tennessee, Bradley Central. And then you have Carson Gentle out of McCallie and Chattanooga, three-star prospect. So Tennessee off and rolling. But again, we believe that they will land another one for the 2025 class. Again, Shamar Arnaud is scheduled to make his announcement on Friday. He has looked at Auburn and LSU. I believe he ends up at Tennessee. So the Vols continue to recruit at a high level. Mr. Jones has a great nickname already, Merklinger the Gunslinger. Not bad. Or it could be Merklinger the bench warmer if he never gets beyond Nico, quite frankly. Caleb, we'll see. But Tennessee recruiting, it's so crazy to me how the recruiting calendar has moved up. But Tennessee's class will be 75% put together by the end of June.
Yeah, you're right for 2024. And as we're seeing now, they're already looking into 2025. Shamar Arnaud, I'm noticing a theme with Tennessee with their targeting of cornerbacks recently. Maybe you've noticed this, Dave, but
that they're trying to get some.
Well, that's point number one. That's point number one. But Shamar Arnaud is 6'1". They seem to really be targeting size at cornerback. Is that a new thing in college football? It seemed like back in the day, you could have a 5'9", 5'10" cornerback. Is that a thing of the past, do you think, in football?
I think what they're doing is they're trying to find somebody special. So they're still extending early scholarships offers. So I think they're trying to find guys with the frame that maybe have. I'm not saying this is the case with Arnaud, but I think as a group, they're offering guys who have the frame, and if they grow into their build and they still have the speed and quickness, then they've got something special. Remember, this is recruiting in the transfer portal period. So if they show up, they can be told, hey, I don't think you're going to play. Might be a good idea if you go elsewhere. So this is a totally different world we're dealing with right now, Caleb. So I think they're taking some guys with bigger frames. Is that a college football change? I think you'd always like the bigger guy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think that's what I was wondering, because there's a lot of Jordan Matthews and Ricky Travis were both in the 6 feet 6'1" range, I believe, and it just seems like that's something they're going for. With Shamar Arnaud, for those who are curious, Milton, Georgia, that's in Fulton County, so it's not like some random obscure part of the state. It's in the hotbed of high school football. So to be a four-star, which he is on Rivals at the very least, this early in that and against that level of competition is a really, really, really good sign. Also, Milton High School, so one high school in that unincorporated community, and it's got an enrollment of about 1,400. So there was probably a good bit of competition to actually be able to start at that high school, which is a good sign.
Yep, and David's referring to Jacob Warren and Cooper Mays. Those are guys I assume you're talking about that stayed around and they became BFLs, and they did. And let's face it, Jacob and Cooper, who we work with, will have fantastic opportunities in Knoxville and Tennessee and beyond when their playing days are over. So we get kind of back to that VFL conversation, and they will. I mean, that's part of the whole VFL thing is you have that support system after. I would also argue this, and this isn't across the board. A lot of you may not know this, but Tennessee players are able to come back and continue school. Reggie Cobb did without paying anything out of their pocket. And they're able to basically step in and get a scholarship even after their playing days. So it happened to Reggie Cobby, came back and got his degree. Also happened to Dwayne Goodrich after the tragedy that happened in Dallas. After he served his prison sentence, he came back. He and Fred White got their degrees together. So I think that part of it, the VFL thing, probably needs to be impressed upon players even more. I don't know that they understand that. I don't know that they would listen at 17 or 16. Every player thinks he's going straight to the NFL. But if that's your VFL status, but here's what it comes down to, Caleb, is there are cases where the coaches are saying it's better to leave.
Yes, so, if the coach is forcing you out, it's a thing. Now, if you're transferring because you're not playing, I still think I'm with you. If you're not starting at Tennessee, chances are you're not going to start at another Power 5 school. That's usually how this works with the transfer portal. It's worked with players coming into Tennessee, and it's worked with players leaving Tennessee. If you're not starting at one school, there's a reason, and usually you're not going to start at another school. You might as well stay at the school that you went to and get your degree and not risk being – look, you go into the transfer portal, you're in limbo at that point, guys. You're stuck in limbo. You may not land with the school, and then you got nothing at that point.
Yeah, I mean, and the only way you know if you have something is if you negotiate with the schools beforehand, which is technically tampering.
Exactly.
So if I'm Taven Jackson, I'm not going into the portal until I know I've got a spot at Indiana. Which, if you notice, he went into the portal and got the spot like the next day. So he knew.
Indiana wanted him initially, though, too. So I think he knew he was okay.
Yeah. But technically, if he even calls them, that's tampering.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I'm sure Josh Heupel, I'm sure there's a code among coaches, unless they're really upset, like Josh Heupel's probably not going to snitch about that because he might want to tamper somewhere else. It's kind of like politics, House of Cards. You can get a lot of benefits doing favors for people.